Pronidar or Pronoundar, every pony. This is BronyDan. It's not original, but hey, you try coming up with originality these days. Well, folks, here we are, 2019, and we've still got another season of MLP coming. But before we can get to that, there are still a couple of episodes of Season 8 I haven't reviewed yet, and I have been able to find some that are in at least good condition. And luckily, this first episode was probably my favourite episode this entire season, and I was disappointed I couldn't review it at the time. So let's take a look at Fake It Till You Make It. We open with Fluttershy having a critter picnic when... Fluttershy! Seriously, does Tabitha St. Germain ever get a throat infection with how much screaming she does as Rarity? It turns out that a big fashion event is happening in Canterlot, and Rarity can't find anyone to run Rarity for You in Manhattan since all 3 of her employees will be there, so she asks Fluttershy to help, after asking everyone else in the show.
But I hear Fluttershy is free.
Well, I say everyone except one particular pony. So Rarity brings Fluttershy to Rarity for You, and if you've worked in the clothing retail, all this will sound familiar.
Chic, classic, modern, sophisticated, avant-garde, traditional, and obtuse. Each section is divided by season, color, and price. It's a classic SCP system. Then it's just a little ringing ponies up.
Yeah, okay, look, just brief me on memes and then I can get going.
You simply must access your inner strength and allow it to shine through. Why not try a new outfit? Think of it as a costume for your role as shop pony.
Well, Rarity leaves Fluttershy, with the help of the raccoon family from Saddle Row Review, to run the shop just as her first customer comes in.
What's the thread count of this shirt? I can't be seen in anything less than 1,000.
Oh yeah? It's this many. Well, Fluttershy decides to take Rarity's advice from earlier and adopts a personality and style that even Mrs. Slocum would be proud of.
Here at Rarity for You, our merchandise defies typical attempts to quantify its quality, but rest assured it will make you the envy of all who see it.
Oh, in that case, I'll take 3.
However, that style of salesmanship doesn't work for every pony, so Fluttershy, well, just watch.
Okay, I've got like this high-key savage look for you. It's a totally live ensemble with the little like thingies that sparkle and make the whole squad go, whoa, that pony is woke. It's not like the futility of shopping can be made better with black leather and metal studs, but they help.
Yep. Fluttershy has contracted what I like to call Seller's Syndrome. I doubt such a condition exists, but it's the best way to describe what happens to Fluttershy in this episode, as she slowly begins to lose herself to these characters that she has created, and thus starts to act in a way that she wouldn't normally act. And I'm sure many people will know why I call it Seller's Syndrome, because that's what happened to Peter Sellers. He got so used to playing so many different characters for so many years that it completely stripped him of his own identity and personality so that he could only exist as these characters and never be just himself.
There used to be a me, but I had it surgically removed.
And for those of you who are thinking I'm just stretching this because, oh, it only happened to Sellers, that doesn't justify Fluttershy's actions, look at Peter Cook, one of the most influential people in comedy. He suffered the same fate as Sellers, so yes, such a thing can happen in the real world. So the raccoons decide to go to Twilight and her friends. Wait, did they seriously just jump on the train and ride from Manhattan to Ponyville? I'm thinking way too much into this, aren't I? In the hopes that they can talk some sense into Fluttershy, but to no avail.
I understand why you think you have to act this way for these customers, but there's gotta be a better way.
Step this way so that we may discuss your concerns.
I knew you'd come to your senses.
Indeed.
Well, yeah, what did you think was gonna happen? So with no other option, they go to Rarity.
She's acting worse than the worst Manhattanite I ever saw.
She kicked us out of the shop! She called Smokey Jr. and Soft Patch rodents! Rodents? Why didn't you say that from the start?
I mean, raccoons aren't even technically rodents. So they arrive back at Rarity for you just as Fluttershy's driven away the last customer.
This is worse than I could have possibly imagined. Rarity, I'm so glad you're here. Mwah, mwah.
I hope you enjoyed that, folks, because that's the closest thing to lesbianism we're getting on this show. Finally, Rarity has no choice but to fire Fluttershy. And Fluttershy. And Fluttershy again, until only Fluttershy remains.
Don't know, I've gone cross-eyed.
Why did you think you needed to be some pony else to run the shop?
I guess acting like the ponies of Saddle Row gave me the confidence to interact with them.
Darling, I'd never trust some horrible Saddle Row pony to run my shop. That's why I wanted a friend to do it.
Well, I'd definitely rather be myself anyway, even if I don't exactly have what it takes to be a shop pony.
No, you can still have those personalities around. They were hilarious. So, yeah, Fake It Till You Make It is definitely a highlight of this season. People could say that it is just a retread of Putting Your Hoof Down, but I think this way was done better and certainly much more entertaining. I think you can hear that Andrea Lipman is having a blast in this episode, playing out all these different personalities of Fluttershy. In fact, it gives her more of a range to do than she would with Pinkie Pie. If I did have one nitpick, and this is minor, but I think I would have liked to have seen more different Fluttershy characters. Go the whole hog, give her a complete identity crisis. But like I said, that's just mostly nitpicking for what is essentially an enjoyable episode. This is BronyDan saying, Nostar.
I'm going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened. It finally happened.